Bengaluru has India's second longest metro network. 96 kilometers, 68 stations, 70,000 crores spent to build it. It is India's most expensive metro system, but it carries the least people per kilometer on any given day. For comparison, Mumbai's suburban rails carry 75 lakh daily passengers. Delhi Metro moves 46 lakh people every day. Even Chennai's struggling metro moves more people per day per kilometer than Bengaluru does. So we have India's most expensive metro system that somehow became its most underutilized. Plus, we were told that the metro would reduce congestion and bring down traffic in the city. But after spending more money than budget of entire states, Bengaluru's traffic is still ranked 5th worst in the world. Vehicle registrations have increased by 333% since metro construction began. So, how did we spend 70,000 crores only to make the problem worse? Well, if you have the same question, that's exactly what we're going to be breaking down in this episode of FinShots TV. FinShots TV is now a part of Zerodha01 network. Together, we plan on bringing you stories that impact your day-to-day lives, sometimes without you realizing it. So do consider liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to our channel. Hey guys, if you like our work at FinShots, do consider checking out Ditto. Ditto is our sister company and they are trying to make insurance simpler for people like you and me. If you're thinking of reviewing your insurance needs, why don't you book a free call with Ditto Insurance's IRDAI certified advisors? The link is in the description. Well, let me tell you the story of my friend Shreya. Shreya lives in HSR layout. Her office is close to UB City. It's in central Bengaluru. The distance is 11 kilometers. And this is her daily route. First, an auto from her house to the Central Silk Board station. Then she boards the metro on a yellow line and changes it on the green line at RV Road metro station. Then she changes her line again at Majestic to purple line and finally gets down at Cubbon Park station. Then from there she takes another auto to her office. Her total commute time is over 1.5 hours, just one side. If she takes a cab directly from home, it would take her only 40 minutes. Clearly, the door-to-door connectivity is terrible. A BPAC study found that 95% commuters would shift to metro only if the door-to-door connectivity improved. And even as the last mile connectivity has not improved in Bengaluru, Bengaluru's metro has already hiked its fares. Some routes saw a 100% hike recently. Okay, you might be thinking comparing metro's efficiency to buses isn't fair. So let's try to compare it with metro systems across the country. For that, we need to compare ridership per kilometer per day. It's a metric used to tell how efficiently a metro system is being used. Mumbai Metro has 24,300 passengers per kilometer per day. Delhi Metro has 13,300 passengers per kilometer per day. Bengaluru Metro, on the other hand, has just 9,700 passengers per kilometer per day. And for India's tech capital, for the city that generates 40% of India's IT revenue, which means it's a hub for the workforce, this is embarrassing. Okay, so we know Bengaluru's metro is the most expensive. On top of that, it's also the least utilized. So why and where did we spend the 70,000 crore rupees? Well, phase 1 was supposed to cost around 6,395 crores. Final cost came down to 14,405 crores. That's a 125% overrun. Phase 2 was estimated to be around 26,000 crores. The revised approval in May 2024 came up to 40,425 crores. Here's the breakdown of the money spent. The construction cost 50 to 60% of the total. The land acquisition for phase 1 alone cost 2,500 crores. For phase 2, it came up to 5,000 crores. The rolling stock, that's the actual trains, cost around 1,600 crores. For 150 coaches in phase 1 and phase 3 needs around 318 coaches. It could cost over 3,000 crores. Here's the per kilometer cost. Phase 1 cost 340 crores per kilometer. Phase 2 cost 547 crores per kilometer. And phase 3 with its underground sections is going to cost over 680 crores per kilometer. So where did all this money come from? Well, a major part was debt. Japan International Cooperation Agency gave us around 9,096 crores of debt at 1.4% interest. Sounds cheap, right? Except it's a 30-year loan with a 10-year grace period. The Asian Development Bank added around 3,689 crores in debt. The European Investment Bank, KW Germany, have also given us over 3,000 crore rupees. The total external debt across all phases is around 25,000 crores as of 2024. And by 2035, when phase 3A completes, we are looking at 45,000 crores to 50,000 crores in external debt. A World Resource Institute study found something terrifying. The repayment timeline for phase 1 and phase 2 loans extends to 40 years. We'll be paying for this metro until 2064. Your children who aren't even born yet will be paying taxes for a metro system that's only used by less than 10% of the people in the city. Bengaluru has India's most expensive metro, even for the user. The thing is, Bengaluru hasn't just spent the most money on building its metro, but it's also charging the highest to its customers. And after the fee hike, ridership dropped immediately, increasing congestion and traffic in the city. On top of that, you know what's actually worse? The route selection of Bengaluru Metro. It's just absurd. Electronic City has Infosys, Wipro, TCS's largest campuses, but it got metro connectivity only in August 2024. That's almost 14 years after the operations began. Whitefield has Intel, Shell, KPIT Technologies, Google, and they got connectivity in March 2023, a decade later. Outer Ring Road has Oracle, Prestige Tech Park, hundreds of other companies. Still, they're waiting for the blue line. The thing is, these are the areas where customers of metro likely exist. These are daily commuters who want to use the metro to go to their office, but they can't because the line doesn't exist in their area. Okay, so if the metro isn't going to areas where its customers are likely to exist, so where is it even going? Well, routes are being laid through areas where although the population might not be keen on using the metro, but these places are politically important constituencies. Because tell me, if people who moved to Bengaluru for a job, it's not like they can actually vote for a government, right? Locals actually can do that. An IISc study found that high-density corridors without metro, while lower-density areas got priority. Metro in Bengaluru hasn't solved traffic or congestion or any of the other problems. Vehicle registrations have actually gone up from 2.5 million in 2006 to around 10.84 million in 2024, a 333% increase. Bengaluru now has more private vehicles than Delhi itself. 80% of trips still happen with private vehicles. Only 20% of us use the public transport. Even a smaller number here uses metro, which comes around 6 to 8%. The TomTom Traffic Index ranks Bengaluru as the 5th most congested among 384 global cities. Citizens lose 243 hours annually to traffic. So, is there even a solution to this problem? Can the Bengaluru Metro ever reclaim itself? What do you think? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to FinShots TV for more.